Morning. How are we this fine day? I'm gonna move this down just a little bit. All right. Oof. Glasses are fogging up. It's raining outside, and a very cloudy day. I know I'm shooting low, and you're not supposed to shoot low, you're supposed to shoot kind of high, but that's okay. It's Monday. I spent the weekend doing some tests on the new laptop with Premiere Pro, etc., etc. Should be interesting to see. I still have some more tests to do, but I did a couple of tests, just 4K upload type things, and curious to see, all the source material. I'm debating whether or not to shoot anything but time lapses with my iPhone, even though it does output a valid Rec 709 output. It unless I shoot at 1080, which I can get 3K footage, which is fantastic, and it looks great even scaled down to 1080, but I'd really like to move to a 4K intermediary timeline and render an output 4K for YouTube, even if my source material is not 4K. And so, still some testing to be done. I'm debating whether to use FFmpeg to make take all the source material, no matter what the resolution is, blow it out to 1080 4K, or blow it out to 4K 422. But I don't know. We'll see. At any rate, that's kind of where it's at. I've got one meeting late this afternoon. Excuse me. And then bugs and stuff to fix today. So should be an interesting, well, not really an interesting day. It'll be kind of a boring day because I'll basically be sitting at my desk working all day. So I don't know how much footage I'm going to be able to get. I do have my SL1 with me, which I can shoot video with. The problem is at work, shooting little clips or whatever, using the iPhone is supremely easy. And using the SL1, while it's still pretty easy, it's not nearly as discreet as using my iPhone to film, a few seconds of footage here or there, or what have you. So, see how that goes. I might just start using, the DSLR and this camcorder in between the two of them to get reasonable footage. The camcorder does a fair amount of noise reduction and sharpening in the camera, and beyond basic color correction, it's really hard for me to get, believe it or not, it's really hard for me to get footage out of both of my Canon DSLRs that looks anywhere near as sharp as what I'm getting out of this camcorder. And this is, the same resolution. There's a lot to be said for using a camcorder. You get pretty usable footage straight out of the camera with very little work needed to clean it up or do anything to it. So that's, in terms of post-processing, that's actually really handy. My big problem with that is, well, I have a lot of problems with that, but it's really hard to get DSLR footage to match. And I don't want to be shooting with a T3i like here in the car and stuff, even though it has a flip out screen, because it's just way too big, like way too big, way too heavy, And like I said in the video from this weekend. You know, in terms of small and light and getting really good footage, this Canon HF M500 and even the newer ones, the R600 and such, they're really small and they have really good sensors. This is the Digic DV4. They've since released camcorders with the Digic DV5 that have native HD sensors. Let me tell you something. I would expect the footage coming out of those to look spectacular. Again, my biggest problem is exposure control. The camcorder just, you know, I'm changing how I shoot a little bit, where before I start shooting I attempt to get good exposure and then I just leave it at that and I let the exposure fall to wherever it is. Like just now, in this whole clip while I'm driving to work, I set the exposure and locked it before I started driving, and now I'm just talking to the camcorder and I'm letting the exposure fall wherever it is. You know, it's a relatively cloudy day outside, and the brightness level, depending on where, you know, where I am and how much shadow is on me, is gonna vary. But I would expect, looking at this footage in Premiere Pro, I would expect it to be pretty good footage, even though the exposure level is going to vary. So anyway, that's that. Time to go to work. All right. Going to lunch. It's still quite overcast outside. Make sure I don't hit the pedestrians here. I need to go pick up some prescriptions at the pharmacy again. Hopefully it's not going to be that big of a deal to do so. I'm going to take the freeway to do it, so should be interesting. All right, at the pharmacy. All right, we're home. Time to go set up the time lapse and eat some food. So we are recording okay, time lapse of the sky and the clouds. It's being ridiculous. So here's the approximate field of view. I know it's going to totally blow out here, but that's the approximate field of view. And should be pretty interesting. So I'm going to go eat lunch while this runs. Alright, so we are going to, I think I got a solid 30 seconds or so of footage. Done. Okay. Alright, it's looking good. Alright. Time to go back to work. Whoa. Yeah. Time to go back to work. I got some really epically awesome footage, shot time-lapse on the Canon T3i, not in video mode, in stills. Took 1 frame a second for the time it took me to eat lunch, which is 45 minutes or so. So I should have, at 1 frame a second, 1 minute, 60 seconds equals 2 seconds of footage. So I should have a minute or so of footage. I'll have to pull it all into Lightroom and massage it and turn it into something usable that I can then pull into Premiere Pro and you know, do my thing with. But oh man, it is gorgeous. The clouds today are insane. So be keeping an eye out for that for sure. All right, it is the end of the day, and it's now with the daylight savings time, at least here in the North Bay area, it starts to get dark 5:30, 6 o'clock, and so we'll see how it goes. I got a bunch of stuff in the mail. My Gorilla Pod should have showed up, so it'll be interesting to kind of just experiment around with that, and we'll see what comes of that. And with that, let's go home. Dinner.
No.
Who's that?
Egg.
What's your name?
Egg.
What's your name?
Egg.
Tell me, what's the name?
No.
No? Your name is No? Your name is No? Yeah. Is your name Kai?
No.
No? Your name is No? No, and there's Kier. Alright, it's bedtime. Alright, that will do the evening. I got the images from the time-lapse pulled into Lightroom. They're, let me just, they're processing right now, getting them converted over, etc., etc. I got my Gorilla Pod, what is this? The Gorilla Pod SLR kit, basically the Casey Neistat selfie stick, if you want to call it that. This works shockingly well. I'm actually really happy with the ergonomics of it. You know, I can pretty comfortably hold the camcorder just like this, and it's not too big. It doesn't get in the way too much, and the legs are flexible, so I can pretty much bend them however I need them to set the camera down if I so desire and want to keep filming. So it's pretty good. So this evening's episode, I didn't shoot anything on my iPhone. This is just a test between shooting with this camera and with one of the SLRs. So it'll be interesting. I'll be interested to see how, well, I know how it'll all cut together, but should be pretty cool. I'm going to render out all of these time-lapse images as 16-bit TIFFs at 4K resolution. So I'm going to attempt to do a 4K timeline for this particular vlog, just to test it out to see what it's like, and then from there it'll just be a matter of seeing what I can output at and what kind of performance and such I can expect to get. So should be pretty cool.